Hey guys, back with another build. This is the case I'm going to be using. It's, as you can see, it's the Master CMP501. Now, I went for this case because this comes with a 600 watt power supply. I'll explain a little bit later why I'm only going for a 600, but anyway, this is what I'm using, and so we'll get stuck into it. As you can see here, so just quickly, this side has got a window. This is where the air gets sucked through. I'm hoping that this panel here, from looking at it, pops off, and there's a grill behind there, but we'll see what we've got going on in a moment. We've got a bulge on here, so that would be great for hiding the cables. Here's some specifications that we've got going on. So as you can see here, we've got quite a few cool things that we've actually, so we've got the, I've only got USB 3 and USB 2. I thought there were two USB 3s, but anyway. We can have two 140s on the front, which is interesting, which is very interesting. Anyway, so yeah, so I've seen this a few times now, the liquid cooling, what radiators are supported and whatnot else, so that's pretty cool. This is how high you can actually have the CPU air cooler and the graphics card and whatnot else. So this is what it looks like internally. A bit concerned because it does say here that the power supply is not included. I'm hoping that is not true, because there is two different additions to this apparently. So we get one fan included with it, drive bay just here. Anyway, so there you go. I'll bring it out of its box and we'll have a look at it. Okay, here we are. This is out of its box in all its glory, and straight away you can sort of see that it's nothing dramatic or anything, but it's got some cool features that I'm instantly liking already. Size of this window is really good, and now let's have a look. This is what I was talking about. Does this pop off? And no, it does not. It does not. Anyway, but there's some, all these fins that are here have got, a fair bit of, space for air to go through. Here's your header. I like how it says the 2 or the 3. I'll get that right. Oh, so there you go. That is a really, really decent bulge. Pretty happy with that. Move around. Now, yay! It has a power supply. Yeah, so there we go. I've already taken out the screws. We'll take off the side for you. Okay. So, there we go. Oh, straight away you can just see how, wow, two 140s, eh? I don't think I'll put two 140s, but anyway. Okay, so there's the power supply. Oh, well, there you go. It's got the Cooler Master on top. But anyway, it suits me for what I need it for. Here's all your header stuff, bits and pieces, all your screws and whatnot else. You got a power cord. So enough for two hard drives just there. I don't know if they're mountings for other hard drives like SSDs or something like that. And there we go. That is a lot of room. That is ample room. I'm loving that. So I guess what we can do, so you've got, that's enough for a double radiator there, or I'm guessing that's enough for a double radiator there as well. So there you go. That is the CMP501. Very cool. All right, well, I'll pull out all the parts that I'm going to use, and I'll show you them and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is what I have going into that current build at the moment. I'm sorry I can't show you the power supply, but you will see it soon. It's a CX650M, and anyway, let's get into it. So this is the motherboard that I'll be using. As you see, the B250 Pro 4. I'm going for 7th gen, so this is an i5-7500. This is a Galax GTX 1060, 6GB. Very happy with that. As you can see here, this is 8 gigabytes of super loose RAM. It's 3000s, but it'll probably be taken down by the CPU anyway. I'm going to be going for 16 gigabytes in this. This is only 8, but I've got some more coming, and yeah. So this has got the white LEDs, the ones that I was able to pick up for a decent price. I've got red, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. And this is something, my local PLE has been doing a few different Johnsbow stuff, and they're good prices too. And Johnsbow have been bringing out quite a few RGB stuff. So this is what I've got going on. And first time in a while I've done an air-cooled, but it looks cool. It's Johnsbow. I can't really go wrong. And it brings my cost down considerably. So there you go. That's what I'm going to be using, and I think that this is it's a little build. It's not going to be anything crazy. I think I've said that every single time, but seriously, this isn't, and it's going to be good. Hey guys, I just want to throw this in really quickly. So this is the power supply that came out of that case, and this is its short name. So it's an Elite V3600. There you go. Okay, cool. Okay, I thought I'd throw this in because this has been really difficult, this part, and this has taken so much time. And so what I'm trying to talk about is just up here. Okay, it's like we've got all these cords, all these cables trying to go through this one little tiny hole. That's it. And where it presses is that there's not even, you'd think that there may be even cables to come through here, but there's actually not. So the problem that I've actually had with this case is that one thing that has deterred me from actually ever coming back to this case ever again is this. And it, like, I'm trying to show you as best as I can, but there's so much going through here, like all these different cables and whatnot else to go through, but it's actually being pressed against there. I had to actually, these cables here are being pressed by the motherboard, so then they can be held in, you know, by the actual screws themselves, and to actually line up with the IO plate properly. So I'm gonna put this in here because of that reason, and it's been nothing but a drama. I mean, some of these, like these here, were actually coming across there. So it's been an absolute nightmare, and it's taken up so much of my time, and I don't want to take up any more of your time, but this has been the main problem for this so far. So anyway, thanks. Okay guys, I just wanted to quickly throw this in just to explain why. For one, I've gone on to liquid cooling, and two, what else I've had to actually do so I can actually get all of the cables through that smaller hole as such. So I had that air cooler, as you know, the Johnsbow with the RGB, and I was having trouble because I had two fans up here, but the fan itself sits down. It doesn't sit up the air cooler or that way or whatever you want to. It was just sitting flat. So it didn't matter whichever way I put it. I was still having trouble with it hitting this as such, because that just goes along there, or it was hitting the fans up top. So I had another case or another build that I had, you know, there. It's been there for a while. And so what I did is I took this out of it and I put the Johnsbow air cooler into it. So I've been able to take this out and utilize it myself. The other thing as well is that a lot of motherboards are coming with these like little dress plates as such. And so what I had to actually do is I had to literally rip all of the cables off the motherboard, take out the motherboard, and then take this out. And then there were just like a couple little screws that came out the back of it, as you can see there. And then I was able to actually put some of the, you know, put them through, and there was no stress on it at all. And as you can see, I was able to get some underneath, but only that one. But that's it. That was, I just wanted to explain why I went on to the water cooling. And I did have a choice, but I had this kind of spare, so, you know, the other build still gets cooling just from the Johnsbow, and I get this.
And as I explained to you, I was able to pick up one of those really skinny fans. Anyway, so I just thought I'd throw that in. I was trying to make this quick, but it's been 2 minutes. Anyway, there you go. Cool. Okay, I'm back, and this is completely done now. Like, completely done. There's been a few different bits and pieces that I've actually done since you last looked at it, but it is actually completely done. I've gone for the two 140s on the front, that's RGB. I've gone for the 120 on the back, that's RGB. And yeah, so I thought I'd just give you a quick overall glance at what I've actually done and looking at it complete. Now, I'll get into a couple of different things that I've actually done. So this is what I originally had on there. So this was the Johnsbow, just RGB. As you can see, there's no other RGB wire as such for a controller or whatever. So that just goes off its own. It just does what it wants to do, changes color when it wants to and whatnot. So it's actually pretty cool. But I had this. Now, I've actually used this in a previous build, but this one was for a build that I'll be putting a video up after this. But when I did that, I only used one of these. So I was looking at the other one, and when I recently went to buy a 140, I noticed these at my local shop, and I thought, well, I'll go for it, because it actually has a switch on the back of it, and it actually says there, red, blue, or RGB. Now, thinking that RGB just does exactly the same thing as what this does and just does its own thing, I thought, perfect. They go well together and they do it. No. So if you put it onto red, it'll just do red. You put it onto blue, it'll just do blue. But as soon as you put it onto RGB, the lights go off. But it actually has the RGB wire for the controller, and so does that. So when I did this, you'll see in the next video that I've actually used the RGB header off the actual motherboard. So I still had this. Now this is a little controller that it actually comes with, and some splitters and stuff like that. So I utilized it. So there you go. That's looks a little bit dodgy where I've drilled it, but that's all secure and whatnot else, and you can use it like normal. So what that'll do now is that will control these two. It'll control the 140 and the 120 together, and it seems like it will be a perfect marriage, really. Just quickly, I've got another one on here as well. So I'm actually got a push-pull going there. These are like a new fan that they started bringing out, my local thing. They're tiny, they're really thin, and it was absolutely perfect for that, because this would not fit in there properly. I have to say that this case has been a nightmare. I'm sorry, Cooler Master, but I think I've said this before, but this case has been nothing but drama. And I mean, it's come together eventually, but yeah, there you go. So I'll power it up for you now, and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. We're going to be turning this on. This is the first time with this RGB setup, and we'll see how we go. Oh yeah. God, I'm good sometimes. I'll draw these blinds so we see a little bit better. Not completely, I won't do it too much, but you can kind of, that's pretty cool how you can sort of see it through there. I like it. Oh yeah, so let's just try the different things. I've got to remember how to use it. Yep, there we are. So you can change the different colours. So we can just have it's pulsating, solid. Okay, so let's see if we can just find a white. There we go. Oh, find that blinds again. Find the bloody blinds. There you go. Pretty cool. I mean, this was 20 bucks, and then as I said, like, this came from the other build, and just that little controller, and I think I paid $9 for the RGB splitter as such. So there you go. We are all completely done. It was a cheap case, but it wasn't an easy build There is some cases like the Deep Cool, the D-Shield V2. That was a great case. It was cheap, it was only like $50 or whatever. Whereas this thing here was around about the $90 mark, but I got the 600 watt PSU with it. But I've swapped it out for my own and put that other one in another build, which was great. So it worked for me. But anyway, so there you go. So we are completely done, and yeah, so just wanted to end this video saying, Amy, miss you, and I'm sorry that we didn't work. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks, guys.